Hey guys, it's Riva. Today I have a complete overview of every hero in the game. I'll be covering what each hero does, the tactics behind them, and ultimately help you decide what one is right for you to stick with and progress. If you're unaware, there are 14 heroes releasing with the game this month, with characters from every Star Wars era. The prequel era features Darth Maul and Yoda. The original trilogy features Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Han Solo, Boba Fett, Lando, Bossk, Leia, Palpatine, Chewbacca and Iden Versio. Sequel era heroes are none other than Rey and Kylo Ren. I'm going to start off with Yoda simply because I think he's the most anticipated hero in the game. Yoda is the most agile hero out of them all. He uses a very fast-paced moveset and has healing capabilities. Yoda strikes with his lightsaber and has a defensive trait, although this defensive trait is unable to deflect blaster bolts. Instead, he absorbs them. His first ability is Unleash. Yoda damages enemies with the Force and pushes them backwards. Use this when up against another hero or surrounded with a large group of enemies. This ability only works for those in your line of sight. This will be indicated by a yellow outline on the floor, which will appear throughout the entirety of Battlefront 2. Although both his block ability and Unleash work in synergy, the more damage you block will result in increased range and damage for his Unleash ability. Secondly, Yoda uses a ability called Presence, which buffs up his own and allies' health. This does not stay at an increased rate, it will decrease after a few seconds, but is very useful when encountering a hero or going into a corridor. This ability requires you to pass through an animation, so you are unable to move for a couple seconds. So be tactical when you use this and make sure you use it before you enter a strike. Finally is a dash attack. Yoda leaps towards an enemy and damages them very quickly. This can be used 3 times until it enters a cooldown. Not only is this good for attacking, but also escape. Yoda is essentially a team play character, so using the dash to get out of harm's way is just as good as getting a kill. Next up is Darth Maul. He also uses 3 abilities. He also strikes with his saber and does not have any block or deflection. Instead, he dodges enemies. His first ability is called Furious Throw. Maul throws his lightsaber vertically at enemies. This ability can be used mid-air. As you jump, you are able to throw the saber. Secondly is Chokehold. Maul chokes his opponent, then throws them and pushes them away. Finally is Spin Attack. This is a fast-paced spin which damages enemies he passes through. This is very useful alongside Chokehold. As the enemy is thrown away, you can spin towards them to finish them off. Kylo Ren of course uses his famous crossguard to strike, and Kylo has a block and deflect. His first ability is called Force Pull. This pulls enemies towards him and damages them. This is useful when you see a hero at range. Pulling them towards you allows you to strike them. Next up is Frenzy. Kylo does a small leap towards an enemy and does a short lightsaber attack combo, very useful for striking enemies at close range. Finally, Force Freeze. Kylo immobilizes enemies in his line of sight. They are unable to move for a couple seconds. As they are immobilized, this is where the Frenzy will come in use, because you can leap quickly towards them and get to work. Rey is a very tactical hero. Similar to Kylo, she uses her lightsaber for attack and deflection. Her first ability is called Dash Attack. This charges towards the enemy, damaging those you pass through. This can be directed left or right. Since the ability passes through the troop, if you wish to stop at a certain point, just use your standard attack and she will stop in place. Second is Insight. Rey can reveal enemies through walls so she can plan her attack. This ability can be used mid-air and as you run. Although, her final ability, Deep Mind, requires you to be stationary for a couple seconds. Rey can confuse her enemy, inverting their controls, so if they try to walk forwards, they will walk backwards. Darth Vader is a tank in this game. Once again, uses the lightsaber to attack and deflect. He uses a lightsaber throw, but is thrown horizontally, meaning you don't have to be as accurate as Darth Maul. The Force Choke is back. This time you can choke multiple enemies, although it does not damage them. Simply leaves them in the hold for you to strike them yourself. And lastly is Focus Rage. This increases the damage output and allows him to take less damage. very useful when encountering a hero or large groups of enemies. Leia was an interesting hero, one of which I was very impressed with. She uses a 2-round burst blaster pistol, which is her primary weapon, but holding the zoom, you can charge up a powerful shot. This shot needs to be fully charged to fire, but when it is, it's awesome. It has an explosive damage so you can fire close to an enemy and it will defeat them. It also has the possibility to get multi-kills. This charge, however, increases her cooldown bar very quickly. But don't worry, switching to her E11 rapid fire ability will disregard all of that overheat and can fire the E11 for as long as you please. Finally, a squad shield. Leia can deploy this and defend her teammates and make use of her charge up shot to snipe enemies while she defends. Han Solo uses a DL-44 blaster pistol. He uses a detonite charge which can be detonated mid-air by pressing the ability again, allowing very big multi-kills. He has a rapid fire on the DL-44, which takes out groups of enemies very fast. And the shoulder charge. Similar to Rey, you can direct which way this goes. If you wish to stop charging, simply press the ability again and Han Solo will stop in place. Bossk. His Relby blaster is now working as a shotgun. Scoping in with this shotgun will modify it to a sniper rifle. Charging the sniper rifle up will give it the most potential. He also uses a Dioxis gas grenade, which can be thrown to a set area, and this Dioxis passes through walls. He also has a 3 sticky bomb ability, which can be thrown out, each with their own radius of explosion, indicated again by the yellow outlines. Finally, Bossk activates a night vision which allows him to see through walls. As this ability is active, you are given a grenade launcher. Emperor Palpatine is another very tactical hero, one you need to master. He can fire lightning as an attack but has no block. His first ability is chain lightning. Firing this will pass lightning through enemies and chain to kill multiple at once. Secondly is electrocute. This immobilizes enemies to be stunned for a short while. Palpatine has a modified combat role to suit his dash movement. As they are mobilized, dash behind them so you don't take any damage and then deal them from behind. Finally, Dark Aura, which slows and damages foes within the area of effect, which is indicated by this tornado. Luke Skywalker is similar to Yoda, has a lightsaber strike and deflection. He uses force push which damages and pushes enemies back. This can also be used mid-air. He uses a new ability called Force Repulse, which damages enemies in a 360 radius, so everyone near to him will take damage from this, even people behind him. Finally, the Saber Rush. Luke leaps towards his enemy and strikes them. Iden Versio, the protagonist of the campaign, also joins multiplayer with similar abilities. The droid will now seek out and stun enemies. She has a pulse cannon which can be fired as many times as you like, but has a required charge up time. And finally, a personal shield. Although, as you start shooting from within the shield, it will undeploy, although you can melee while inside. Boba Fett utilizes a jetpack to fly at high altitude, uses a concussion rocket to blur enemy screens and give them reduced speed. While they are stunned, make use of Boba's rocket barrage, which is a high damage ability. Finally is a scan, which reveals enemies behind walls or anyone near to him. Boba is best to use his abilities all while in midair. Chewbacca is another tanky hero. He uses a shot grenade to stun enemies. This is useful for the alternate abilities such as the slam. This slam requires you to choose when you want to deal the damage. Activating the slam will make Chewie run, but it's down to you to stop at the right time. Finally, a no cooldown ability where Chewie fires his bowcaster at a fully automatic rate. Last but not least is Lando. Lando is also really good. He uses a smoke grenade. This smoke grenade works well with his blaster. Zooming in with his X8 night sniper gives you heat vision, which is visible through his own smoke. Secondly is a lock-on ability, which takes out enemies without having to aim. Finally, a shot grenade. This is thrown towards an enemy, and once again, it's up to you to detonate when you want and stun your opponents. This is best used in synergy with the lock-on. You can stun your enemies and lock onto your enemies freely without taking damage. Well, there's 14 heroes. Hopefully you now know which one sounds like your playstyle. Any questions, please leave it in the comments. It's been Riva, and I'll see you in the next video.